Good evening and welcome back to another episode of the first and only call-in show dedicated to the simulation hypothesis. This is home of the Neon Alliance. I am the one and only RAO. And in case you didn't catch it, that is a brand new theme song and opening theme that honestly has been long overdue from on this channel for a long time. I guess long overdue and long time is a little bit redundant, but nonetheless, since I finally have an opening theme, I've been working on this topic for some time now, and I thought now would be a good week to bring it in. And special thanks to the chat. Much appreciated, much love. And I had this idea. I've been rattling this idea around in my head for a while, but I'm proposing that all media has a certain underlying algorithm that, in a sense, controls it. And I'm talking about music, literature, movies, plays. I mean, we're going back. We're going way back. And I hang out with the skeptic community. And when you're dealing with the skeptic community, they all need that evidence. They need that evidence. So don't come at a skeptic unless you got that evidence. So that's what we're going to do today, is we are going to provide a little bit of evidence that all media follows a single algorithm. That's the goal for today. Now, one of the things that got this started up was a video that I saw posted in one of the atheist community groups, where they're basically just they were memeing some Mormons. But we're gonna go ahead and play that video right quick, and I'm gonna do my best to keep my mouth shut. Like, kind of a good luck with that, but we're gonna see if I can pull it off. So we're gonna cut into this first video, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about it, and then we're going to transition into the next one. So let's go ahead and play this one first. And this is not mine. This was made by, well, it's Blinding Light. I don't remember. The Weeknd does Blinding Light, but this is Jordan Allder who made this. So that was the first one I was checking out, and I noticed a few things in there. It seemed really choppy to me. First of all, they had parts of the lyrics that were missing, and then it seemed like they had a part where where just the entire song as a whole was missing. Like they just cut out the volume period, and I guess it's because, like, they wanted to do the song, but maybe certain parts of the song went against their religion. Like, they need a permission slip from God to talk about sex or some shit like that. I don't know. I'm not the professional Mormon here, so if there are any professional Mormons, please let me know perhaps why they couldn't do that song. But when I was listening to it, when I was watching the dance, I could almost hear another song. So what I decided to do was I muted their audio and I put Ghost over it. Ghost song Mariana Cross. So we're going to go ahead and listen. It's going to be the same video with different audio, and we're going to see how that choreographs and how that plays. So we've got that part done. And after I watched it and actually analyzed both of them, it felt like mine was actually choreographed better. Like the whole when they were taking a step back was the Runaway with Me, and the that when they were turning the whiteboard around and they did that like hit and they did the wave, it almost felt like and plus I didn't have to skip any lyrics. I could just play mine thing the entire way through and make it look a lot better. But I have doubts that these people had ever heard of Ghost, and if they have heard of Ghost, I am seriously doubting that they've ever listened to Ghost enough to choreograph a song to the music of Ghost. But when I played Ghost over the song that they choreographed, the dance looked better than it did when they choreographed their own music. And that in itself just it gets weird. It gets weird when you think about the fact that somebody could choreograph a dance to a song that they hadn't heard. Now, this next piece of evidence is all of this is circumstantial evidence. I don't have any solid, here's the algorithm, here's the paperwork. I mean, it's just I consider myself to be pretty decent at math, but I am not that good. So this next thing is going to be Anthony Vincent. He got his start with the YouTube channel 10 Second Songs, and I recommend you listening to him. He's awesome, and I wanted to make sure that I gave credit where credit was due. And Anthony Vincent, he does amazing work, and I wanted to bring this particular video in just because it shows it. Well, it doesn't show that there is an algorithm, but it leans toward the idea that there's an algorithm rather than there's no algorithm, because it's kind of a yes or no question with the algorithms of is there or isn't there. And so what I'm trying to do now is lean more toward there is than there isn't. So let's go ahead and watch Anthony Vincent, and then we'll talk about that one for a second. And we will be listening to the entire song without me pausing it and shit.
It starts with one thing, I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in mind, I designed this rhyme to explain in due time. All I know, time is a fire, my thing. Watch the fire, the better I'm swinging. day be a memory of a time when I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I had to lose it all. Said in the end, it doesn't even matter. Yeah. Keep that in mind, I decide it's right to remind myself how I tried so hard. In spite of the way you were mocking me, acting like it was part of your property, remembering all the times you fought with me, I'm surprised you got so far. Things aren't the way they were before. You wouldn't even recognize me anymore. Not that you know me back then. When it all comes back to me, sure. You kept everything inside, even though we tried, it all fell apart. What happened to me? What happened to be a memory of a time when I tried so hard and got so far. In the end, doesn't even matter. Had to fall to lose it all, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I put my trust in you. Pushed as far as I can go. Pushed as far as I can go. There's only one thing you should know. There's only one thing you should know. Trust in you. Pushed as far as I can go. For all this, there's only one thing you should know. I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, doesn't even matter. I had to lose it all, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I tried so hard, got so far, but in the end, doesn't even lose it all, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. In the end,
So that was In the End, originally done by Linkin Park, but Anthony Vincent redid it with in his 10-second songs. What I'm noticing here is the sheer contrast between like Johnny Cash, Frank Sinatra, Backstreet Boys, Enya, Tech Nine, Eminem, The Doors. All of these completely different types of music were irrelevant. It didn't matter what genre it was. It didn't matter what era it was. Like the Beatles, 1965. Holy hell. So this guy is spanning decades, covering several different genres to make this one song. If all music is not run by a single algorithm, it would be hard to make one song like this. And this was Anthony's bread and butter for a long time. I mean, he's expanded from there, and he does have his own band, Set the Charge. Anthony Vincent doesn't know who the hell I am, so I'm not trying to. I'm kind of promoting him, but I'm not doing this because he asked me to. I'm not doing this because we're in communication. I'm doing this because this is evidence of my proposal of what I'm proposing, and he happens to be one of the best people at the job. So that's why I'm bringing him into this. And as long as I'm going to talk about him, I'm going to shout him out, because dude's a huge Ghost fan. Dude's a very talented musician, and I mean, he was worth a shout out. But yeah, some people are going to tell you, it's like, well, anybody could really do that. You're just adding different instruments, and you're changing up. Because he changed up the entire tempo of the song in order to make it fit. So, like, that doesn't feel quite the same as, oh, all music's under the same algorithm. It would be, for all music to be under the same algorithm, you would have to be able to do something like mesh up songs in a way that they work together, even though they're decades apart. Let's say that. Songs that you can play together decades apart.
DJ Cumberbund.
Du hast mich. Du hast mich. Yes, I did.
I am not sponsored, so that can go away.
Du hast
Ain't no one paying me to make this.
mich. Du hast mich. Du hast mich gefragt. Du hast mich gefragt. Du hast mich gefragt und ich hab nichts gesagt.
Play that funky music, Rammstein.
Nein,
Play that funky music, right.
nein,
Play that funky music, Rammstein.
willst du bis der Tod erscheint? Nein. I said no.
Like it in the air, winter rebel sand, throwing all you see into obscurity. Death and mother, never a rebirth. Evolution dead, never will it be.
Du hast mich.
That's DJ Cumberbund.
Du hast mich. Du hast mich. Du hast mich gefragt. Du hast mich gefragt. Du hast mich gefragt und ich hab nichts gesagt.
Play that funky music, Rammstein.
Nein,
Play that funky music, right.
nein,
Play that funky music, Rammstein.
willst du bis der Tod erscheint? Nein. Du hast mich gefragt. Du hast mich gefragt. Du hast mich gefragt und ich hab nichts gesagt.
Play that funky music, Rammstein.
Nein,
Play that funky music, right.
nein,
Play that funky music, Rammstein.
willst du bis der Tod erscheint? Nein.
Alright, so now we have, and I looked it up, I don't remember the exact years, but Wild Cherry, that was a song, that song, Play That Funky Music, that was from like 1977, 1978. Blackened by Metallica was right around 1988, and Du Hast was 98 or 99. So all these songs have a 10-year gap. Well, there's a 10-year gap between the 10-year gap and the 10-year gap, and then there's a 20-year gap between Rammstein and Wild Cherry. So these are two extremely contrasting songs that you're able to throw together like perfectly to where it doesn't sound worse than the originals. I wouldn't go. I'm not that big of a Metallica fan, so I'd say that it sounds better than Black It, but it doesn't sound worse than any of the songs that he used. And there were like two other things in there that were like minor stuff, but, and like I said, if there wasn't an algorithm that tied all the media together, it would be hard enough to do this with one song. It would be difficult to do this one time. And this guy makes like a couple of videos a month, maybe once a week even. I'm not sure. I listen to him, but I don't like catch his new videos as they show up. But he's done this several times. Like Basket Flies, he had one that was Shania Twain and Marilyn Manson. Now, that one has been taken down. I'm not sure if it was taken down for DMCA reasons or because we found out some things about Marilyn Manson. But nonetheless, that one's not there anymore. But I thought that was the best example of music being meshed up. And the more that, like, you listen to this stuff, the more that you're saying, like, is there really that big of a difference? So we've seen people choreograph songs that I would be willing to bet they've never heard. We've seen somebody who turned a song into basically made one song into basically every genre possible. And then we've seen a combination of songs put together so well that if you hadn't heard the original songs, it would seem like it was put together as an original creation for the purpose of that specific song only. We also see things like, I know damn near everybody's heard of this one. When you play Dark Side of the Moon alongside Wizard of Oz, you get the way it meshes up. Now, for that one, because the Wizard of Oz is so popular, I would not be able to discredit the idea that Pink Floyd either consciously or subconsciously knew that they were writing a song or writing an album to the Wizard of Oz. So I can't say that is a solid enough connection. So that's why it wasn't like part of the evidence. It's just something that we've all heard of before. And my question now, because I'm pretty sure that there is an algorithm. I'm pretty sure of this just because of all the connections that we've seen. But what the hell? More evidence is never a bad thing.
We've known each other for so long. Your heart's been aching, but you're too shy to say it. Inside, we both know what's been going on. We know the game and we're gonna play it. And if you ask me how I'm feeling, don't tell me you're too blind to see. Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you. Never gonna make you cry, never gonna say goodbye, never gonna tell a lie and hurt you. Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you. Never gonna make you cry, never gonna say goodbye, never gonna tell a lie and hurt you. We've known each other for so long. Your heart's been aching, but you're too shy to say it. Inside, we both know what's been going on. We know the game and we're gonna play it. I just wanna tell you how I'm feeling. Gotta make you understand. Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you. Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you. Never gonna make you cry, never gonna say goodbye, never gonna tell a lie and hurt you.
So, I really don't have a lot to say there because, I mean, we've basically brought in all the hard evidence. But no, I'm not gonna sit here and have an episode about music without rickrolling my audience. It just seems like blasphemy to me. But like we've seen how well music works with each other. And I discussed the Wizard of Oz thing. I like the choreography thing. The choreography thing is what made me reevaluate all music being under a single algorithm rather than all media, because a choreographed dance is not specifically music. It is music and the choreographed dance. So that's, I mean, it's still related to music. But again, I'm going to need better evidence of the Wizard of Oz thing, but it's just an example of how it's not just music. And another, I can't even remember now, but who the hell is it? Was there CinemaSins? CinemaSins, what they'll do is they review a movie and basically show you everything wrong with it, but at the end they'll have this thing where they'll have a line from the movie, and then they'll take another line from a different movie and let it just fit in there as part of a conversation. Like, it would be something along the lines of maybe something in Phantom Menace where somebody's talking to Mace Windu. Somebody would be talking to Mace Windu, and then Mace Windu would respond with something like, "I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing." Because, you know, it's another Samuel L. Jackson character. But what I'm looking for right now is evidence that contradicts the idea that all music falls under a single algorithm. That's the main thing that I'm trying to find right now is evidence. I want to be, okay, I don't want to be wrong, but I want to let everybody know that I'm open to being wrong. And that's kind of, like I tell you every week, that's why I am here. I'm not here to tell you I'm right. I'm here to say this is what the evidence says. Could you please provide me some evidence that tells me I'm wrong? That leads to the idea that I'm wrong. Because I don't want to be stuck in that echo chamber. I don't want to be just sitting here. Because I've got a crazy ass idea. I think we live in a damn video game. So, if you're going to come with an idea like that, not only should you be expected to provide evidence, but you should also be open to being wrong. Because yes, it is outlandish and it sounds, of course, when I say that I think we live in a video game, that is a horrible understatement of what I'm talking about. But if you're going to subscribe to an idea as fringe as the simulation hypothesis, you should be open to criticism. Flat out. You need to be open to criticism to make your ideas better, if for no other reason. Because especially if you're public, if you're public like this and you are not afraid to tell other people about this, expect ridicule. Expect it. It's going to happen. And another thing that I'm doing here is for the people who do subscribe to the simulation hypothesis, I want to be able to provide you the best arguments possible in the event that you do come across that ridicule. Because I've had people... Alright, back to Mormons. We're going back to Mormons because there's a Mormon girl I used to work with who flat out told me that I cannot have an educated opinion because I think we live in a video game. To which I respond, you think your dead grandfather can control the weather, so please pay attention to the ideas that you're calling crazy. And that's a whole nother situation for a whole nother episode. But I just wanted to bring it up that yes, we are going to get ridiculed for this idea. We're going to get ridiculed by idiots for this idea. So, keep your wits about you. Keep the knowledge. Keep the evidence. Make sure that when you get hit with that ridicule, if you have education, if you have information, if you have evidence, it's going to help prevent you from just getting angry at people for being ridiculed. And you can actually handle things in a calm and collected manner while at the same time telling them that they're a freaking idiot because they're calling you an idiot for saying that you have an idea. All right, so I think we've got most of the. I think we've got the topic done, and I'm going to. Oh, there it is. I found it. Okay, we are going to open up those phone lines, and while we are sitting here in the midst of waiting for calls, I do want to remind you about that Patreon, the one and only RAO on Patreon. Because, I mean, dude, I'd love to do this for you. I'd love to keep making videos for you, but I mean, I'm actually gonna have to start applying for work tomorrow because I got my hours cut. We have an incoming call. I'm gonna go ahead and say, I'm guessing, is this Tommy Wood?
It is.
All right. Well, you know, I can, and when I've seen you in the chat, I can usually look forward to hearing you on call.
That's right. I love talking to you. I've missed talking to you for the past few weeks since you haven't been on the air, but you know, we have kind of stayed in touch on Facebook and, like, I guess in the meantime. But I'm glad you got another show up and going today, and I really enjoyed this episode, and I totally agree with you, and I have some points to make that totally support your argument.
Well, my computer bricked, and I actually tried to do an episode on the Simulation Theory group just off of my phone, but the quality of it was just so trash that I didn't want to look at it again. So I decided to come back with the fresh new theme song and, you know, have a fresh new episode up and ready for y'all.
Yeah, that theme song is awesome, and I do catch the Futurama reference where it's got the chimes.
The instrument was called tubular because I was using a percussion kit on Korg Gadget on Nintendo Switch. Yeah, I made that entire song off of a Nintendo Switch.
Nice. Yeah, a chime is a tubular percussion instrument. Yep.
So, you said that you had some ideas that would support the singular algorithm hypothesis.
Yes, but I don't want to tack it on just to music or media or choreography. I want to say that the algorithm you're talking about runs through the entirety of human existence and our reality as a whole, and I think it falls along the two main components here that we're looking for are human psychology, where similar thought patterns occur across individuals over time. And then we have music theory as well, which I also studied in college, which shows that there are patterns to music. And when artists come up with songs, they follow these patterns. You know, having studied music theory, I know that there's, for example, a chord progression like 2-5-1, that's more of a bluesy one. But, you know, with every song, we have an opening, a verse, chorus, bridge, verse, chorus, and then an ending. And that kind of follows all the way along with, you know, life starts from a seed to youth to a life to old age to death. And it's, you know, our whole lives kind of songs kind of mirror the actual life itself. And so when we see emotional progressions throughout the music patterns that we see that have been derived and studied, you know, by our musical forefathers. For example, I saw something else on YouTube before that there's this guy that comes up with the 4-chord song where there's all these like 80s and 90s pop songs that go on to sound, that all sound the same. It's because of music theory, and there is a science of music that basically describes how you're supposed to create a song. That's one reason Tori Amos I can't remember exactly sure why, she got kicked out of music school or something, but she became famous because she didn't want to follow the pattern, so she has a slightly different style to her. You know, I love Tori Amos, but, you know, I also recognize that with most mainstream music, there is a style or a scientific pattern that the music goes along with, which follows a psychological component that we follow in listening to it.
Well, you were talking about the 90s, and rap actually saved music in the 80s because the 80s was the worst decade for everything sounding the same.
Yeah. I do love 80s though, don't get me wrong.
And, well, I couldn't tell the difference between pop and hair metal. I honestly can't tell the difference between 80s pop and hair metal. It sounds the exact same to me. And then rap came in and completely changed the game overnight.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah, rap is a style of its own, yeah.
but it still follows that pattern. Like we saw
It
that
does.
we saw that with In the End, the 10-second songs In the End.
Uh-huh.
Like
Yeah, within it. Uh-huh.
yeah, we had those rap parts in there, and I consider In the End to be a rap song. But we also had Enya, Johnny Cash, and Frank Sinatra,
Uh-huh.
and we had those styles underlying with rap. Now
Well,
you're
there's,
taking. Go ahead.
there's also time signatures that different songs follow, which ones that follow the same time signature match up with the other ones. So there's, 3/4, 4/4, 5/4, 6/4 songs. There's very few 5/4 songs, and there's mostly 4/4 songs, but there are some 6/4s and some 3/4s. And if you listen to them closely, you can tell which time signature they're in. And all of the same time signature songs, if they're in a similar key, should match up with each other depending on the structure of the song. So I'm just saying that music theory is a science, and music is created by a scientific method.
Well, DJ Cumberbund, he actually changes the key of some of his songs. Changes the key, changes the tempo, so that he can get those mashups to work right.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, it's not just a matter of if it's in the right key, if it's in the right time stamp.
A little finagling, yeah.
He broke the timestamps. He broke all that stuff when he started making his mashups.
Uh-huh.
Now, I wanted to bring this up before, and I want to get into something you said later, but I am under the idea that all media follows a single algorithm, and I'm going to get to that part soon. But here's the question now. Is it a human psyche thing? Or, because if it's a human psyche thing, it doesn't necessarily debunk the simulation hypothesis.
Mm-hmm.
But if the algorithm exists independently, I would say that would be one of the breaking points for, yes, we live in a simulation. If we can find out that the algorithm exists outside of the human psyche.
Yes, well, we're both proponents of the simulation, so I don't disagree there. And I do understand that we are living in a simulation. We are a created being, so the algorithms that underlie our world there has to be, I agree there are algorithms underlying each aspect of our world, if not only one for everything. But
Now, did you say there was one algorithm for everything, or there isn't one algorithm for everything?
well, I was saying if there's not only one, then there would be multiple. I don't know how many, but I believe there are algorithms for reality because
Right.
we're creating simulations.
Exactly, and I would agree with you there that different aspects of humanity, different aspects of the universe, and we already know that physics runs under algorithms, like
Uh-huh.
but
Chemistry algorithms.
yeah, but what I'm saying is that I'm proposing that there is one algorithm that
Just
is the
the-
center of all media. But
Media,
I don't think that one algorithm would translate into everyday life.
Uh-huh.
Because
We
I
also-
mean, what you're proposing would be like any time that you drop silverware, dropping the silverware would follow the musical algorithm.
Well, I do believe that, and I feel that in the environment. That's one thing that caused me to need medication 20 years ago, is because I feel the algorithms in the environment around me, and I can't not see rhythms in everything. That's why I have to be medicated, and I go crazy if I don't, because I feel the algorithms of reality.
And I mean, I can't go as far to say, like, and you just pluralized it. The algorithms of reality. And that's the point that I'm trying to make is, yes, I think reality is a product of algorithms, but I don't necessarily think that the media algorithm falls into the same category as the physics algorithm.
Well, let's take this to the next level up. Do you think that the people that are creating these media creations are aware that they are creating what they are and how it goes together, or do you think there's a major consciousness that's just controlling us to puppeteer us around so that all our things are fit together?
Okay, so you're basically you're asking if I think that we're in a and I might be oversimplifying this, but I think that there's three main ideas when it comes to the simulation hypothesis. We've got ancestor simulations, and in an ancestor simulation, there would be no mind that was connected to a mind outside of the universe. Like everything in our universe is a simulation, but it doesn't get affected by the outside. It's just running an ancestor simulation with no human mind, with no outside of the universe minds in it. And then
It's
the
like
second,
a basic experiment.
yeah, and then the second one is would be like a solipsist simulation, a brain in a vat, where there's only one mind populating this entire universe.
And you're your own mind.
Well, I wouldn't go as far to say that it's my mind. I think, and even then you got two possibilities. You got the one mind, you got a solipsist simulation that would be more accurate to a God claim, where the one mind controlling everything isn't a person. And then you got the solipsist simulation, where the mind that is occupying the universe is a player in a single player game, like Skyrim.
Right.
And then the third one would be the Matrix simulation, where our universe consists of minds from outside of the universe that are populating the simulation, as well as NPCs that are part of the program. So, if you were to ask me which of those three I would be most likely to subscribe to, it would most likely be a Matrix-style simulation. So, in this situation, and mind you, this is just speculation on my part, but in the Matrix, in a Matrix-style simulation, instead of the player, because I mean, there's people that don't have any musical talent, but if
That's
you
another one of my points, was because the brain has to have an ability to interpret music, to enjoy it, and some people do not have a significant portion of that part of the brain that's developed, depending on their genetics and youth.
Well, I mean, writing music is its own animal. Some people can't do it. Now, if let's say that I was playing a game like WoW or some kind of MMO, And I have absolutely no musical talent. Let's just say well, there's people who say that anyway. Listen to my song, like, he has absolutely no musical talent. So yeah.
Okay.
So let's just say that I've never touched an instrument before. And my character in the game is a bard. If I don't know how to write music, my character would not be able to write music. But if there was a musical algorithm that basically all player characters had access to, it would mean that my character would be able to write a song without me knowing how to write that song.
Well, we have to also remember about commercialism and corporate advertising. You know, these companies invest millions, if not billions, of dollars into psychological research, depending upon how people perceive things. And the people that write this music to attract, you know, the attention of people. And there's a specific way to do that, which has been, you know, studied over time to make more money for corporations. And I think that's an underlying factor as well.
Well, the problem I'm seeing with that is things like Mozart, Beethoven, Tchaikovsky. These, like, the corporate mindset wasn't there. Like, there was still a very aristocrat type society, but
yeah, it's modernly with the corporate thing.
But that's why I don't want to factor it in, is because it's very time period sensitive when you start talking about the way that corporations are affecting people, because that's a relatively new thing that has come about from the world getting so much smaller through communication. Like when we had to deal with when our fastest way to get a message from one person to the other was a pigeon, then information moved really slow. As information sped up and the delivery of information,
that's just evidence for the simulation, because the exponential accelerated pace of information technology, you know, belies the fundamental factor that, you know, what we see in the future has to come from the past. And there's no way we cannot live in a simulation, especially with the quantum physics fundamentals that we see as well.
Are you touching on Moore's Law again?
Not necessarily Moore's Law, the law of accelerating returns by Ray Kurzweil. Different paradigms show up. And so when one paradigm starts to slow down, another paradigm overtakes it, and the exponential acceleration continues to show.
Okay, so like just to make sure that I understand you, if something doesn't keep speeding up, it's going to get wiped out by the thing that does.
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that we were on the same page there. And like the whole corporate mentality, just because of how new it is, I would say that it's almost irrelevant, because I'd be more willing to say that the corporations who are doing this have figured out more of the algorithm rather than made more of the algorithm.
Well, it is more of a discovery than a what do you call that?
An invention. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. But how have corporations gotten this big? Because they've been studying this for a long time, and they know what people like and how people act and how people are going to trend toward things. And if you want to get it, you know, maybe another episode is for the conspiracy, like Illuminati type stuff. You know, like to where the world is run by just a few people who have everybody else working for them. I guess the 1% or whatever, and
Okay,
control
I
it.
don't want to dive too far into this, but it's not 1%. Do you know how much 1% of the population is?
not much, but they own 80% of the world's wealth.
No, like how many people is 1% of the population?
Well, if there were 7 billion people on Earth, that'd be what, 700,000,
700 million.
700 million.
And I'm honestly, I don't think that 700 million people, or I don't no 70 million, 70 million people,
Yeah.
almost 80 million. Sorry about that, our math was off.
Yeah,
But
that's a very small portion of the population of Earth that controls 80% of the wealth of the globe.
But you're just talking about the people that are controlling the wealth, and I'm talking about 40 or 50 people that have such an abundance of wealth that when you take those like go as far as the 100 wealthiest people. If you take those out of the 1%, then the 1% doesn't have that much control anymore, because the 1% might own 80% of the wealth, but the
Maybe those few people own
0.001%, those 100 people have 80% of that 1% wealth. So it's like a few people are fighting over 80% of the wealth.
And you know they have to be in cahoots and making decisions for like what's it all like? It has to boil down to all this bullshit mask wearing and vaccine mandates and crap we're having to deal with these days, and people being scared by the media scaring everybody.
Well, okay, for this, like, I do want to touch on this in a different episode, because I'm familiar with it, but I haven't studied it to a point that I can dedicate an episode to it, and we are going way off the rails here. So
Yeah, I better let you go and see if the other person wants to call. I'm kind of tying up the lines here.
all right, well, I mean, it's always good to hear from you, and like I told you before, as soon as I can get it to a point where a co-host can actually communicate with the caller, then we're going to talk more about getting you a co-host spot, so that we can start having these conversations in the beginning, and then let other people come in and like send us off the rails.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I'm totally down with that.
All right. Well, Tommy, until next time, I'm guessing I'm probably going to hear from you next week. So, until then.
All right, we'll catch you on YouTube. On Facebook in the meantime.
All right. Well, you have a great day. Thank you for calling, and thank you for continuing to watch.
Thanks for having me. I enjoy your show.
All right. You have a great one, Tommy.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right, lines are open back up, and like I said, I did want to touch on that Patreon right quick, and I'm gonna do my advertisement, and if I don't have any calls during the advertisement time, I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off. But I do believe that Tang has a Monday night show going on. Actually, let me look that up right quick, because I will go ahead and drop in a link for Tang if they've got a show on tonight, because Ozzy is cool people and I support that channel. So let's go ahead and see. Oh, give me just a minute. I'm going to see how long
I want to
this...
fill up the calendar with that in between.
All right. Started. Oh, god damn it. He started about an hour ago, so he's like right at the same spot where we are. We're gonna go up to Tang right quick, and we're gonna see if Ozzy's doing anything today. I'm I'm not seeing anything upcoming, but make sure, just check them out here in an hour or so. But like I said, we've got the one and only RAO, all one word, on Patreon. And we've got several different levels, and I think there's a $1 level. I think there is. Let me go ahead and pull that up. Give me a sir. I've got this little hook on the corner of my table that always manages to perfectly catch my keyboard. I'm pulling up my Patreon just to make sure I'm not giving you any false information. Let's see. Okay, hold on. I've got to... sorry about this. I like I said, my computer just got done fixing itself. Alright, let's see. So I'm basically having to load into everything. Alright. And I forgot, so... Let's see, find creation, love, la la. Alright, so we're going to try that again. And I'm so sorry about this. Like I said, like, I thought it was in here, but... Alright. We are there. Let's see. Overview. Trying to figure it out. Hold on. Dang it. Okay, the live shout out is $3 a month. And for that live shout out, what basically all that is at the end of the show, I'll go ahead and throw out your name and let you know that let everybody know that you're supporting the channel, that you're here doing the thing. And if you have if you have a YouTube or something like that, I'll go ahead and shout out that YouTube as well, along with who you are, because I mean, I'm a small streamer, like flat out. I think I had 2 viewers, so I understand being a small streamer, and I want to be able to help other small streamers. And so if I can do, if you're helping me, I'm definitely going to be there for you. Now, the other one is specifically for my Twitch channel, and that's Lead the Stream. You pop in, and if I see that you're a Patreon for tier 2, you just jump in and tell me what I'm going to be playing that day. And so yeah, you can lead the stream, and along with that, outside of that, we've also got the merchandise. And the merchandise, it's there's 2 ways to do it. There's the 3-month package, which is $10 a month for 3 months, and that gets you the T-shirt. You get the neon butterfly right up there on a T-shirt. And then we've got the 12-month package, and that gets you a sticker, a coffee mug, then the T-shirt, and then a hoodie. And after it does take a year to get the hoodie, but if you do it today, you'll have most of the winter with that Neon Alliance hoodie on you, keeping you warm. So, that's the Patreon information, and like I said, I would love to be doing this for you full time. I would love to be putting out videos all the time, but unfortunately, bills got to get paid. So I've got to have a job, unless streaming can be the job. And next week I've been trying to come up with this show for a little bit now. I tried to do it on my PlayStation, but it wouldn't let me. So next week we're going to be talking about like casual gamers versus speedrunners and how that relates to reality, because there's different ways to play video games, there's different ways to live life, and I just want to compare and contrast how we play games relative to how we live. So look forward to that next week. Let's see. And I'm back up and running. I mean, we should be good. I'm not. There still might be there's a couple of hiccups that I'm worried about, but other than those little couple of hiccups, we should be all right to keep on streaming. But if anything changes, I will let y'all know. But until next time,